I just stopped at Tesco to get some Pooper Scoop bags for Bob, because Bob's with me today. Are you, Bob? He's in the back here. Yeah, so you can see him probably. He's very excited. I'm taking him to Alderley Edge, which is a really nice area around here. I'm up in Manchester, by the way. Well, I'm up in the Manchester area. Because Keith, my ex-partner, has gone to the States. He's gone to America for 10 days. So I've come up here to take care of Bob. Rather than put him in a kennel, I'm up here taking care of her. So yeah, I'm meeting my friend Michelle in Alderley Edge. She lives there. And I've got my laptop, so we're going to have a look at her astrology chart. I'm going to ask her if I can film it actually. That would be really fun. And then if I can film it, then I'll put it up on the channel later. I'll see how she feels. If she's happy, then yes. If not, then, you know, whatever. So, yeah, the reason, I've kind of alluded to it, the reason I'm here, and I haven't really mentioned this I haven't really mentioned it really. I just mentioned to you guys that I moved down south, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but I don't think I've gone into detail. I just want to tell you a little bit more of what happened. I was in a relationship with this guy Keith for 8 years, and we broke up. So when did we break up? It's been kind of a gradual process. I moved down to Glastonbury first, and that was kind of the breakup. That was me saying, you know, this is it, I'm moving out. But then we kind of agreed to try it as a kind of separation, with me coming back at the end of it. And that's now done, and I've decided that, you know, it's not a separation, it's more of a final ending. And yeah, that's the end of the relationship. And I mean, you know, if you've been in relationships yourself, you'll know that 8 years to be in a relationship with someone is a long time. You get to know that person, they become your family, they become someone who's really special to you, and ending it is really difficult. I think we've done the breakup as well as possible. There's always going to be hurt feelings, because that's the nature of the breakup, but I really want to keep either a friendship or keep it really civil, or best way we can do, because I really respect him, and you know, it was 8 years of my life, and I did spend 8 years with this person, and there's certain things that he helped me with and vice versa, and I'm very grateful for everything he's done for me. So I want it to be a good ending. I want things to be positive. Now, we don't always get what we want, but that's what I'm trying for anyway, and that's hopefully how it's going to be. So yeah, and it's been a bit of a difficult change, you know. I mean, getting used to being by myself, not having the extra security of being part of a relationship, which does offer you certain security. That's been a shift, but you know, after a while, you just know when it's right. And it wasn't something that I just did on a whim. It's something that I thought about for a long time. And Bob, don't cry, okay? It's not something that I just did like on a whim, and it's something that just had to be done. So he's gone to the final split, you know, the final change from this is a separation to this is actually the end of our relationship. That happened last week. So it's still really fresh, it's still really new, and he's obviously upset about it, and as a result of that, he's gone back home to the States. That's where he's from. So he's gone to spend 10 days with his family, just, you know, to kind of help the healing process and all of that stuff. So he's over there, and instead of putting Bob in the kennel, I said, oh, you know, don't worry about it, I'll come take care of it, it'll be fine. I didn't really realize that going back to the old house would bring up as much stuff as it has done. It's been surprisingly difficult to be in the building, in the physical location, because it's, you know, that was the relationship home, so to speak. So that's been quite tricky. But I do know a couple of people up here, and I've spoken and I've got support about it, and it's fine. Bob's just crying because he wants to get out and he wants to start walking, so he's just a bit nervous. I took him out this morning for a nice long one, so that this trip wouldn't be so traumatic for him. And then Alderley Edge is really nice, so once we get there I'll take him on a nice walk. Alderley Edge, there's a pub there called the Merlin, which I noticed when I drove past one day, and I just looked into it, and actually Merlin, supposedly, you know, Merlin the wizard from the Arthurian legend, King Arthur's kind of counselor and advisor and stuff, he was in this area. So, you know, wherever you go in this country, there's either Camelot or King Arthur or Guinevere or Merlin or someone, which is what I love. I love the kind of Celtic, all of that tradition, the mythology of all of that. So yeah, I'm going to take him for a nice W-A-L-K when we get there. I have to spell it, otherwise he knows the word, and otherwise he really cut it off. But the other thing obviously about coming back here and taking care of the dog is that where I live in Glastonbury, one, I'm not allowed pets in the actual 2-bedroom apartment because I'm renting it. I'm not allowed to have pets. And partly because of that, we've decided, Keith and I, that Bob is going to stay with him. And that's an area of contention anyway, because he says it's my dog. You know? We got him together, so it's our dog. But he's now staying up here, and you know, if you've watched any of my videos, you know, and you can tell that I love this dog so much. He's like an angel in my life. I love him, and I try and do as much as I can for him. So that's hard. When I first moved down to Glastonbury, in the beginning it was really hard, because after every reading that I do, Bob would know when I hung up the call. When I said bye, you know, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Then when I'd hang up, he'd know the sound of that, and he used to come in, and after each reading we'd have, you know, we'd just play, and I'd stroke him and play around with him and stuff. So when I first got down to Glastonbury, that was difficult. And now being back here, it's as usual. You know, he's his usual funny little self, and I just love him so much. So when I go back down in a couple of days, I'm here till the 7th of August, that's going to be hard again, because I'm going to miss him, and that's part of the difficult process here. But I feel like I'm handling this whole thing like a champion. I really do. I mean, it's not easy under any circumstances, and I think I'm coping really well, and just getting it out there and speaking about it is helpful. Bob, it is helpful, and I'll get through this, and this too shall pass, and I feel like I've made the right decision. I know I've made the right decision because I considered it for such a long time. So yeah, it's nice to be back up here for a little bit anyway, because I'm catching up with all my friends. So I'm going to go see Michelle now, and that'll be fun. We're going to have lunch in Alderley Edge, and I'll do her chart. And yeah, I caught up with some of my other friends. Saw my friend Mike and you, I can't even remember what they're called, friend Ewan and stuff. So it's good to be back up here, and it's nice to just remember that I do have friends up here, because when you go to a new area as well, obviously you don't know anybody, and it's good to remind yourself that you do have friends where you were, and you know that I don't, for me personally, that I don't sit in Glastonbury and say, oh, I don't know anybody, I'm all alone. That's not good for me. I need to feel connected with spirit and with other people, and I need that as a sense of security, and like, you know, that people are aware that I'm around. I think I'm not unique in that way. I just need to be aware or have other people in my life. So yeah, this is a really nice little trip, so I'm gonna this off in a minute and just drive over there. And then if Michelle says we can film, then I'll catch up with you in like 27 minutes anyway. So I'll see you then. Take care. So that's very basic. I mean, I could look at all these different angles and all the planets and how they interact. What's interesting is that it's all here. Do you see that there's 6 things right there? And that's spirituality and that's the self. And that's where the biggest area of focus or concentration.
It's my developing my spiritual self.
Yeah, and your lifetime is about discovering the self through spirituality. The work side of thing is important, yes. So is relationship, where you've come from. But these are all peripheral to your main purpose, which is there.
Which is what I've been doing.
Which is what you've been doing, exactly.
It's just affirmation of what...
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually an affirmation of what I've been doing.
Good. So...
That is actually my birth chart, is it?
That's your birth chart. And now this is your transits. So there's your birth chart in the middle, and that's what's actually in the heavens right now and how you're being affected by it.
That looks crazy.
It looks complicated, but it's just the inner wheel, which we just looked at, and it's... Okay, so this is the wizard's well, right?
Yes.
And there's a face in it, apparently, which I want to show you. I've seen it, but I just want to show you and see if you can see it. It looks a bit like Merlin, and there you go, you should be able to see it there. But Michelle was just telling me a story that the more a friend of hers has been looking at it for years, and the more and more she looks at it, the more it looks like Jesus. And I can actually see the resemblance too, so that's pretty amazing. And this is the wizard's well, so it has a connection with Merlin, I suppose. Was Merlin here in the olden days?
Merlin, yeah.
Yeah?
The whole area is connected with Merlin.
So what's it? Do you know the story?
I know the story, yes.
Do you want to tell us?
Tale of Merlin and Alderley Edge.
Yeah.
There was a farmer travelling from Mobberley to Macclesfield.
Okay.
Alderley Edge lies between the two.
Right.
And on this time, he was going to the fair in Macclesfield to sell his beautiful white mare. He had a white horse. And as he walked along the road, or was it a path in those days,
Yeah.
He was approached by what looked like a wizard. And the wizard came up to him and asked him whether or not he'd like to sell his horse, he'd like to buy his horse. And the farmer said, no, I'm going to the fair in Macclesfield. I'll take my chances there, thank you. And the farmer went to the market, and he was approached by many people that day who commented how beautiful and wonderful his horse was, but no one made him an offer. So he came away from the fair very dejected. And as he came back towards his home in Mobberley, he passed the edge, and there was the wizard. And the wizard asked him if he was ready to sell his horse, and he said, yes, I would sell the horse. So he took him to this stone face on the edge.
Yeah.
Not particularly this one, it could be any.
Okay.
And then the wall there opened, the rock face opened up, and the farmer walked in, and he could see all these sleeping knights and sleeping white horses. And the wizard said, these are getting ready. This will complete the king's army for when the time will come and we're called upon to save the kingdom. And said, here you are. And there were lots of treasures, gold, silver, jewels. Take your fill. And he took what he wanted. And as he came away, the rock face closed up again. The wizard had disappeared. And never again were those white horses seen. And that's the story of Merlin and the Edge.
That's a great story. Thank you, Michelle. Wow, I love it. And what about this text here? It says, oh, this is quite normal though. Drink something. Bob's drinking. He's getting into it.
It's on the internet. You can actually read that in more detail.
Yeah, we'll have to have a